Akka Mahadevi was one of the early female poets of the Kannada language and a prominent personality in the Veerashaiva Bhakti movement of the 12th century. Her 430 extant Vachana poems, and the two short writings called Mantrogopya and the Yogangatrividhi are considered her most notable contribution to Kannada literature. She composed relatively fewer poems than other saints of the movement, yet the term Akka, which is an honorific given to her by great Veerashaiva saints such as Basavanna, Siddharama and Allamaprabhu, is an indication of her contribution to the spiritual discussions held at the Anubhava Mantapa. She is in hindsight seen as an inspirational woman for Kannada literature and the history of Karnataka. She is known to have considered the god Shiva as her husband. Akka Mahadevi was born in 1130 in Udutadi near the ancient city of Banavasi in the modern Shimoga district of Karnataka state, India. Mythology. She is considered by modern scholars to be a prominent figure in the field of female emancipation. A household name in Karnataka, she had said that she was a woman only in name and that her mind, body and soul belonged to Lord Shiva. During a time of strife and political uncertainty in the 12th century, she chose spiritual enlightenment and stood by her choice. It is commonly known that she took part in many gatherings of learned such as the Anubhava Mantapa in Kalyana to debate about philosophy and attainment of enlightenment. In search for her eternal soulmate, Lord Shiva, she made the animals, flowers and birds her friends and companions. Rejecting family life and worldly attachment, Bhakti recorded a rethinking of the ashrama dharma which suggested a stages of life approach that began with the pursuit of education and ended with the pursuit of moksha. Akka was a revelation here in that she pursued enlightenment, recording her journey in vachanas of simple language but great cognitive rigor. It is said that Mahadevi was married by arrangement to Kausika but later did not, as the king disrespected some conditions set by her. There were immediate tensions, however, as Kausika was a Jain, a group that tended to be wealthy and was, as a result, much resented by the rest of the population. Akka's poetry explores the themes of rejecting mortal love in favor of the everlasting love of God. Her vachanas also talk about the methods that the path of enlightenment demand of the seeker, such as killing the I, conquering desires and the senses and so on. She rejected her life of luxury to live as a wandering poet saint, traveling throughout the region and singing praises to her Lord Shiva. She went in search of fellow seekers as sharanas because the company of the saintly Asarjana Sangha is believed to hasten learning. She found the company of such sharanas in Bushvakalyarana, Bidad district. Akka utters many vachanas in praise of them. Her non-conformist ways caused a lot of consternation in a conservative society, and even her eventual guru Allamaprabhu had to initially face difficulties in enlisting her in the gatherings at Anubhava Mantapa. A true ascetic, Mahadevi is said to have refused to wear any clothing, a common practice among male ascetics, but shocking for a woman. Legend has it that due to her true love and devotion with God, her whole body was protected by hair. All the shanas of Anubhava Mantapa, especially Basavanna, Chana Basavanna, P. Canary Bommaya, Siddharama, Allamaprabhu and Dasmaya greet her with the word Akka. In fact, it is here onwards that she becomes Akka, an elderly sister. Allama shows her the further way of attaining the transcendent bliss of ultimate union with Lord Chana Mallikarjuna. Akka leaves Kalyana with this following vachana. This dramatic situation of Kalyana Parva in Akka Mahadevi's life is an indication of the beginning of the third phase of her life. In the first phase she had renounced the worldly objects and attractions, and in the second, discards the entire object-based rules and regulations, and in the third phase she starts her journey towards Sri Shila, where her eternal lover Chana Mallikarjuna's temple locates. Also it is the holy place for devotees of Shiva since before the 12th century. Akka's spiritual journey ends at Kardali, the nearby thick forest area of Srisela, where she is supposed to have experienced union with Chennamallikarjuna. One of her famous Vachana translates as her poetry exhibits her love for Chennamallikarjuna and harmony with nature and simple living. She sang. Reception. A.K. Ramanujan, who first popularized the Vachanas by translating them into a collection called Speaking of Shiva. Post-colonial scholar Tekaswini Niranjana criticized his translations as rendering the Vachanas into modern universalist poetry ready to consume by the West, inciting translation. Bold feminism. Akka Mahadevi describes her love for Lord Shiva as adulterous, viewing her husband and his parents as impediments to her union with her Lord. She talks about cuckolding the husband with Shiva and taking her Lord as her husband, terming relationship with mortal men as unsatisfactory. Akka Mahadevi describes them as thorns hiding under smooth leaves, untrustworthy. About her mortal husband she says, "Take these husbands who die, decay, and feed them to your kitchen fires.